that they sit in Moses' seat, because Moses was really the first king of Israel, man. You know, he was given that position. But it's like the elder was talking about Eleazar calling himself chief high priest and that. Someone's got to give that to you, man.
Yeah.
And I remember when I watched Apostle Gabar's video on Just Take the Law, he was saying at best Eleazar's been kind of midway serious about the scriptures for 8 years. So you mean to say after 8 years you were chief high priest?
And you just mentioned the key word that kind of went past when I was watching the video, that he was taking the scriptures mid-time seriously. So how is that Negro a high priest? How you gonna take the truth not so seriously, but then you call yourself a high priest? The true high priest is gonna take this truth seriously, man, to the point where he won't do no nonsense like that after a Passover or whether it was at the Passover. You know what I'm saying? Like a true high priest is gonna understand what the will of the Lord is, and how to conduct himself while he's on the earth and doing what the Most High tells him to do, because he knows that the Most Highs are the power to be reckoned with. He's gonna know that very well.
Appreciate.
Go on, bro.
Sirach or Ecclesiastes 32:70 says, "A sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his will."
Yeah, and that's what it is. He's a simpleton, really. The dude's a simpleton, and I mean I always knew that the dude was a simpleton. And don't get me wrong, you got simpletons that can repent and become wise men. We were all simpletons at one time, but he's a real life simpleton because he don't even really got the sense to know how much of a dumbass he's looking. You even got other hood broads coming at him. You know what I'm saying? Hood broads around in his camp, telling him that he's off in many other ways. So if you got a hood broad telling you something, then you know you off, man. Go on, bro.
Proverbs 26:16. The sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men can render a reason.
Yeah, because he takes us like Elon Rothschild would tell you, man. You better be very careful what you say. You know, you gotta be mindful when you say it, man. You gotta slow down, brother. Slow down, man. And analyze how you walk it. Analyze who you're affecting. Go on, brother.
Proverbs 26:12 says, "See if thou art a man wise in his own conceit, there is more hope of a fool than for him."
Yeah, there's more hope than a fool for him, yeah, because he's already in his head. His ego is so inflated that he don't even see anything else but himself. You know what I mean? So I mean, if something happens to him, he's not going to see it because that pride uncovered his ass. Go on, brother.
I'll finish that one. I've got a quick precept.
Go on.
This is Proverbs 21:2. Every way of man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord Yahawah pondereth the heart.
Right, that's a good scripture. Every man is right in his own eyes, and that's why it's good to always seek counsel, because you may think that you're in the right, but what if you're in the wrong, man? And you doing the same thing over and over again, thinking that you're in the right. Go on, brother.
A fool, when it says that a person wise in his own conceit, there's more hope for a fool than for him. A fool doesn't know nothing, but at least a fool might admit, you don't know nothing. You know what I mean? So therefore, he can't. There's nothing to justify. He doesn't know any better. A fool might seek to learn. But if you know so much that you know more than everybody else, then no one can't tell you nothing, man.
Right. And let's just say if the brother didn't do that, because he's a brother, he's an Israelite. But let's just say he didn't do what he said he didn't do. The guy is still a simple-minded Negro anyway, man. You know what I mean? I'm just calling it what it is. Go on, brother.
This is Philippians 1:15. Some indeed preach Yahawah even of envy and strife.
Right.
And some also of goodwill.
Right, and some also of goodwill. So you got to be one of the few that are preaching this thing for goodwill purposes. Because this truth is not about you. It's about someone higher than you. It's the one and only that died on the cross for your sins, Yahawah.
That's right.
That's who it's for. So when you stand before the Heavenly Father with His word in your hands, you are to be remindful what you're doing it for and who you're doing it for. So if you was a chief priest, you would understand that fact. You would have been understood that. You would have been kind of walked in a certain way of an actual chief priest.
Yeah. Because great power, with great power come great responsibility.
Yep.
So I remember when we walked into we just had the Passover, and we walked into the Passover, and the brother said something good. The brother knows who I'm talking about. He said, sit in the low seat. I heard it. Sit in the low seat, because then the man can't come and tell you, come, we sitting up there, because it happened with the Pharisees. Come sit down there, and then you ain't going to be humiliated. So with great power come great responsibility. that Mr. High Priest, whatever his name is. But the Most High said, what are you doing, man? You're putting yourself in a position where you're going to have to be brought down.
Exactly, yeah.
You put yourself in such a high position, it's better to be a bit lower, and when you drop, it's a lower drop. But then rather a higher drop, then what's that? Oh yeah, the harder they come, the harder they fall. I remember
basically,
that. Yeah, Jimmy Cliff. Yeah, it's true. That's true, man. The harder they come, you know.
We're Israelite men. Like you want to be at the top of everything, but if you ain't really got it, man, you gotta just somebody gotta tell you, look, bro, you gotta just calm it down. Like you always want that kind of guy to be by your side, to remind you where you're at, because a lot of the times you may think you got it, but you don't got it, man. And then you go up there in a high position, making us look like an ass because you really have no experience.
High priest, you know, high.
A high priest, not just a priest, a high priest.
This is Luke 14:11. For whosoever exalteth himself shall be abased,
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted.
Yeah, and the so-called white man, he's going to be made a prime example of that, because here it is, they've raped, robbed the world, and stolen and thief everything, to the point where they've literally forced themselves at the very top. So eventually, when it's all said and done, they're gonna come down. All right, they're gonna come down greatly, and then it's gonna be well known: is this the man that made the earth to tremble under him? Shame will be brought upon him. When pride cometh, there cometh shame. And that's another reason as to why you don't want to put yourself up in a high pedestal, because eventually you're gonna make a mockery out of your damn selves. Eventually, you know, you don't want that. Go on, brother.
All right. Precept. This is Obadiah 1 and 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee, even thee to the border, and thy men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound unto thee.
Right, all of those that were allied with them, they're going to betray them, especially the EU, because at one time the EU were in conjunction with the US, and still are somewhat to this very day, but that relationship is dwindling. That tight relationship that they once had is dwindling, and that's only because of prophecy has to play out, that this place is going to go out by way of nuclear destruction. And it says that these have hated the whore, meaning the 10 common market nations, which make up the EU today, the original 10. But you have others now that branched out of the original 10. You're going, brother. Let's read this.
Revelation 17 and 16. I start at 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest,
right, which represents all of the other nations. Go on.
where the whore sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast,
right,
these shall hate the whore.
Right, these shall hate the whore. Who is the whore? The whore is referring to that major great city, country such as America, which is known as Babylon. So eventually what's going to happen is the EU is going to turn against America. So let's read Obadiah 1.
Obadiah 1 and 1.
Oh, you get the book of Mark, what is it, 3 and 25 or something like that? Go on, brother.
The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom.
And who is Edom? The so-called white people today, which the word Edom simply means red. When you look at them, they're not actually white. They have translucent skin, and through that translucent skin you can see their blood. So therefore, they would be in turn called the red people. Go on, brother.
We have heard a rumor from Yahawah, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle.
Arise ye, and let us rise against her in battle. So those other nations are going to get stirred up and rise up against Babylon the Great in battle. And then you also have the Moabites programming their people to hate so-called white people. You understand? I'm talking about the so-called Chinese. Because they've been hating them from a long time anyway, due to what had happened in the past between the two countries. But more so, they're intensifying their hate. Because eventually, before you fight someone or a country or nation, as what the Western media has done for a long time now, and heightening the hatred against Muslims, because eventually they will have to go to Afghanistan and Baghdad and do what they did in the early 2000s. So all China's doing is the same thing. Getting their people programmed to hate the same people that they're going to have to fight eventually, because war is on the horizon. Go on, brother.
It says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised.
Right, in other words, unimportant. I believe the Hebrew word is quatan, which means unimportant or insignificant. So they went from being a great nation, a highly regarded, respected nation, to being an unimportant nation, because the other nations see the corruption behind what was being presented. And now the other nations are looking at them like sideways, like, look at them. Look at how they're doing economically. Look at their people. They have no morals. They have no standard. And this is the country that's going to teach us something? No, hell no. We're not going to allow this country to teach us anything. We don't respect these people. So it's going to go from no respect to destruction of that place. Go on, brother.
The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee.
Right. So again, harping back to the original topic at hand, pride. Thy pride hath deceived thee. And that's the thing what pride can do. Pride can deceive a motherfucker, man. To have you think that you're something that you're not. You know, you think you're bigger. You're bigger than something that you're bigger than what you think you are. You know. And eventually, that's what brings a man down very low. Is pride. You don't want to have that kind of mindset where you're all puffed up and you're prideful. Yeah. And you feeling yourself. You think you got the shit down packed when you really don't got the shit down packed. And it's been proven that Al-Azhar, the chief,
High priest.
What's his name?
High priest Al-Azhar.
Right, Chief High Priest Al-Azhar.
Ross.
He's showing himself he didn't have it.
Chief too.
Because I mean, if you even got a little bit of sense, and it just goes to show you, he don't got no sense, man. The man ain't got no sense. You can have a little sense, and you wouldn't do no madness like that. And then trying to deflect. Come on, man. Go on, brother.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 8 and verse 1. We know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up.
Right.
But charity edifieth.
Right. And another reason why guys get prideful, because they learn a few scriptures there and there, and they think that they're on top of the world all of a sudden. They're this big guy on the block, ready to teach the whole house of Israel, to teach the whole nation.
Yeah.
Be Superman to them.
Yeah.
No, Negro, you just know a few scriptures, man. Don't be feeling yourself too much. You know? Go on, brother.
That's why the Apostle Gabar always speaks about experience, man. Because that's to try out.
Yep.
You know, because you can know something in theory, but then actually living it out or bringing that scripture to life is a completely different thing, man.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, as the elders say, man, you know, piecing two precepts here together and two precepts there, man. Anyone can do that, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Because when you think about the apostles, and if there was to show you the battle scars, the battle scars from the scriptures, like real battle scars, physical, emotional, you might be shocked, man. You know what I mean? And I just want to read this precept. It says, it's Psalms chapter 2 verse 11 says, serve the Lord with fear and rejoicing with trembling. Because when you feel the pain of being whipped, like from the Most High, we're talking spiritually, you feel that you get a little taste of that fear. You're learning to fear the Most High because you've been through it. You got battle scarred, like some of them veterans will tell you, man. Like the new upstarts coming in, they might talk with the veterans, and the veterans say, "Boy, you know what happened to me? My leg literally got blown off, you know, raw. Just, you know, boy, I tell you, I heard the sound of that echo of the bomb going off, you know, make you feel fearful." So when you listen to the apostles, then as what the brother's saying, when they're speaking from the experience, it can make you think, boy, man, I hope I know I hope I'm in the right thing, and I hope I can endure what they went through. Yeah. So when you're talking about fear and trembling, them man ain't learned to fear.
That's it.
They ain't really I mean, you can have battle scars, you know, to a certain extent, but the real veterans, they've got the battle scars. Yourself too, you know, after you've been in there for some years, you know, behind you, you feel the pain. Yeah. So that's learning to fear, and I'm still learning. You know.
Yeah, man. That's just how it goes. You know what I mean? Like I said again, I'll say it again. Like, you know, you got certain brothers that will say, well, it's because he's a young man. Well, I mean, hey, this brother here, he's younger than all of us put together, but this guy's actually, he's mature. He's very mature. So does it really boil down to him being, you know, a young man? No, it actually boils down to this. Because Al-Azhar, you know, me and him about the same age, kind of up around the same age area. The man ain't got no damn sense. It ain't got nothing to do because he's young. The man just ain't got no damn sense. That's all it is. Go on, brother.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 10 and 21. Start at 20. Among brethren, he that is chief is honourable.
Yeah.
So are they that fear the Lord Yahawashi in his eyes.
Right.
The fear of the Lord Yahawashi goes before obtaining authority.
Yeah, so that's what it's all about. You have to recognize the Lord, man. Okay, the Lord brought you in this thing, but you gotta act a certain way because the Lord can do A, B, and C to you. That's what you always have to be mindful about, man. And once you're mindful about that, you're not gonna make silly moves like what they've done, and then try to basically do another silly move, justifying themselves, knowing that they've done wrong. Even though the man ain't got no damn sense, but he knows he kind of went off.
Yeah, he can't.
You know, he knows he went off. Go on, brother.
But roughness and pride is the losing thereof.
Break it down.
So when you come, look, I'll read it again. The fear of the Lord goeth before obtaining authority. So before you're put in a position of authority or any rank, first you have to have the fear, because if you're still doing nigger stuff in the truth, how do you expect to obtain any authority or be put in that position? So Lord has to try you first. That's when the rank comes. And it's not all about that. The rank is just for order. There's men set up in particular orders so they can look after the flock, watch over the flock. Because if something's going wrong, they take care of that. But roughness and pride is the losing thereof. So, in other words, Yahawashi is saying, if you're being rough and prideful and trying to just run up quick, you don't want to take the right measures, then that's the losing thereof.
Yeah.
You're not going to gain wisdom and you're not going to gain knowledge, because pride, it actually stops growth. It halts growth. So you can't be taught anything. That's why you got to humble yourself. Especially when you first come into the truth. I'm still new. And I'm still learning. There's still things I don't know. So I listen to others.
Even there's certain elders, like sometimes I always admire, like, you know, you learn the scriptures from the men above you, but then you also watch their characters and like how they move just in certain ways.
Yeah.
And it's like, what I've noticed, most of the elders and certain bishops, like even the apostles, will play with them sometimes, and they'll always say, no, I'm just a brother, I'm just a brother. Even though they have the position of elder or bishop, they always say, nah, I'm just a brother, and they laugh it off, man. They don't go, yeah, I'm an elder, you know, and so, nah, man, because that's getting prideful, man. That's letting the position get to your head, man. Yeah. So then, but then, as this elder is saying, you've got men like stupid asses like Al-Azhar, that instead of running away from the position to be humble, he's making himself, yeah, I'm the chief priest. Like, come on, that's not spiritual.
I'll just say something. When Yahawashi, there was a point where they wanted to make him.
Yeah.
What did he do? He ran back into the mountains.
Yeah.
And he knew he was the king. That's humility.
The rightful king.
Yeah, that's a good precept.
You know, it's better to be over low. Like I've had the views, I've had all of that. But guess what? There's a reason why, when you look at a channel and you got views, there's a reason why it might get taken down. It's Esau, but Yahawashi knows your spirit. Some men can't deal with people saying good video. Some people can't deal with that all the time. I know what it done to me. That messed me up when I had my first channel. So now I'm on that level where I'm just staying meek. It's a constant thing.
Yeah.
You know? I prefer that.
Yeah, so this is John chapter 6, because the brother was speaking about it. John 6, and I'll start from verse 14. Then those men, when they had seen the miracle that Yahawashi did, said, this is of a truth, that prophet that should come into the world. When Yahawashi therefore perceived that they would come and take him by force to make him a king, he departed again into a mountain himself alone.
Yes, that's it. You know, that's it. He didn't want that, even though he was king of the Jews. Because it was not that time yet. He was glorified after the crucifixion. That's when he was glorified.
Yeah, John 17, glorify me now as I was with thee before.
Yeah.
So Yahawashi actually had the glory, left it, and came here to be a servant. But then you got guys here that do, as the apostle said, 8 years, and they run into glory. Come on, man.
That makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense. Like, everything happens in due time. You can't force the waters. Because when you force the waters, something winds up happening eventually. Because it wasn't meant to be. That's all I got to say on that regard. So, you're going out?
No.
Oh.
I've got one. 1 Corinthians 9 verse 25. And every man that striveth for mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown.
They do it to obtain a corruptible crown. They want to be known. They want to be exalted. because it makes them feel a certain kind of way, because really deep down, they really ain't really nobody. They're just a bunch of grimy negroes, you know what I'm saying? So they know this, and they want to use this truth to garner some kind of fame, because another thing as well, when they were in the world, they weren't really famous. They probably wanted to be rap stars or a celebrity of such, and they used this truth to garner that, you know? Go on, brother. So that's a corruptible crown.
Yeah, it says, now every man that striveth for mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible.
But we an incorruptible crown, a crown that will never perish, a glory that will never perish, which will take part, which is in the kingdom of heaven, the everlasting kingdom. We're going to be the ones sitting on thrones. We're going to be the ones judging the tribes of Israel. And that's going to be ongoing. So that's what we're seeking for. We're not seeking to be glorified now. Now, you got brothers that are glorified in their own way, but they're not actually looking to be glorified. Okay, it's just the Spirit got them to be exalted for that particular point in time, you know? That's just the thing. But there's going to come a time where that brother, if that brother's sincere, he will be everlastingly glorified in the kingdom. So that's what we're looking for. Go on, brother.
Yeah, precept, Sirach 25 and 10. Let me take my time.
Yeah.
How 10 says, oh, how great is he that findeth wisdom, yet is there none above him that feareth the Lord.
That's the top wisdom. The top wisdom is to fear the Lord. Again, and you could tell that guy ain't no high priest, because a high priest, a high chief priest, an actual high priest, an actual high chief priest will have that ability. He would have the the highest level of fearing the Lord. Like Moses feared the Lord. Like Moses is a prime example of a high priest. All right? The way that he was moving, and you could tell, like when you read about Moses, you could tell the kind of character he had. You know, he wasn't this high and mighty guy. He was very lowly. He actually didn't want to lead the children of Israel. He was like, man, I want to do this. Because niggas was just getting on his nerves. You know what I mean? But you had other guys like Dathan and Abiram, they wanted to take over his position. So then what did the Lord do to them? The Lord pretty much opened the floors up. And they got sunken into the floors, man. They died. That's how they got dealt with, man. Because of what? Pride. Trying to take over that high seat. Going on.
Quick precept. This is 1 Corinthians 9:27. But I keep my body and bring it into subjection.
And this is the Apostle Paul talking. Go on.
Lest by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway.
Exactly. So even though the Apostle Paul, this is a man that did the work. He was heavy in doing the Lord's work, but yet and still he was humble about it. So when you really look at the attribute of a man of the Lord, is actually showing humility, being humble, knowing that he's the shit. He knows he's the shit, but he keeps it under himself. He's not going to glorify himself and show off. He's going to be lonely about it, because he knows that there's going to come a time where he will be glorified. But right now, or whatever time he's in, that's not going to be the time of his glorification. Okay? Go on, brother.
That was finished. That
I've got something.
This
is Philippians 2 and 6. Who being in the form of the Most High thought it not robbery to be equal with the Most High, but made himself of no reputation.
Yahawah, the King of Kings, the Lord. What is it? The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, as he already knew in the prophecies. But he didn't care about building a reputation. He didn't care about glorification, as well as he had the spiritual power to heal the lame and the sick. He still was humble about it. It says that he was even obedient to his Father, even unto death. So that's a person that has no sense of pride, is when a person is obedient. Okay? Go on.
And took upon him the form of a servant.
And took upon himself the form of a servant. So we know that Yahawah is the number one example above all of the sons of Israel. Okay? And so, I mean, like, I don't know what these other guys are doing, man. But I do understand they're the Sakari, and they're coming under that spirit of the Sakari, which were a bunch of simpletons starting trouble in 2,000 years ago. That's all they were.
They were physical, man.
Carnal.
Trying to take down the Romans by force, along with the zealots.
Yeah.
Appreciate.
Go on, brother.
You finished with. If you got more, carry on. If you got more.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah.
And was made in the likeness of men, and being found in the fashion as a man, he humbled himself.
Right, he humbled himself. Go on.
And became obedient.
And became
unto
obedient
death.
unto death. Like I just said, he became obedient unto death. And he was showing you what humility was all about, what humbleness is all about, when he bowed himself down and washed the feet of one of his disciples, man. You name me one guy in Israel who's going to do that. That's a high priest. That's calling himself a chief high priest of Israel. He ain't going to be doing shit like that. And none of us don't have to do that. But I'm just saying. The reason why I brought it out, because I'm making the point, and the point of the matter is that Yahawah was the greatest of all men, and still is to this very time and day. But yet and still, he was obedient. He knew his position, and that's just the thing with the men of the Lord. The men of the Lord, they know that there's someone special, but they don't show it because they know that it's the wrong time to show that. But a guy that knows that he's not really necessarily someone special, he's going to glorify himself. So it's always the opposite when it comes to people. The people, it's always those people that know they ain't really worthy of no high position. They're the ones that's showing off, or even a guy that know how to fight, that can beat your ass. You know, he's not going to show you. He may look like a harmless person, but you don't know what he's capable of, though. The dude could actually break your neck, or he could break your wrist. You don't know. Because the way he carries himself, he's humble. You know? He don't go around puffing up his chest and doing A, B, and C to show that he's a tough guy. He don't need to do that. He can just break you down when the time presents itself. Go on, brother.
Yeah, I see some guy who was known. He thought he was a tough guy, right? And he went to grapes up some man, tried to rob him because he was supposed to be a gangster. Talking about like 90s. You know, grapes up some man and grab him from the back, and the man done some moves on him, like some Wing Chun move, right? And then he ended up in hospital. You know, do you know what? You know, so and so's in hospital. Yeah, he tried to rob some man, some humble-looking man, and the man knew some Wing Chun. And he had a thing. He brought a thing on and just juke him up. The guy got juked up. He's supposed to be a tough guy, well known to be a tough guy on road. You know, road man. Yeah. He ended up getting a whole heap of stitches. They said that it was a lot of stitches. I just read this precept? Yeah?
That's why I say Al-Azhar. I mean, you know, hey, he's a brother, he's an Israelite, but he's a grimy nigga. That's why I keep saying he's a grimy nigga. Because, you know, hey, man, you know who you are. Everybody knows who they are, man. That's why he's trying to exalt himself and he's doing too much, because he's trying to get away from being the grimy nigga he really is. Go on, brother.
Matthew 4:2 says, and when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of God, command thou these stones to be made bread. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but by every word and proceedeth out of his mouth.
So this is when he was going towards the cross, right?
It was
fasting.
Yeah, the fasting in the wilderness. You know, he had to go away and fast. I'll get to the point. It says, then the devil took him up unto a holy city and setteth him on a pinnacle of the temple, and said unto him, if thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, he shall give him angels charge concerning thee in their hands, that shall bear thee up. Let me take my time. Lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Last one. Yahawah said unto him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God.
And think about it. If Yahawah was simple, he would have did what Satan told him to do.
Yeah.
Or do this A, B, and C to prove a point. He didn't have to do that.
Oh yeah,
he just battered them with the scriptures. You know, that's all it was.
Yeah.
Nasette should have done.
Yeah.
So basically,
yeah. Simpleton anyway, man. You know. Yeah.
So he turned down all the glory that Satan was offering him. Yeah. The glory what you're talking about, that the flesh might crave, and you get glory, you get a certain amount of time to reign, like a lot of the entertainers. Right. But when it's time to pay, they don't want to pay.
They don't want to deal with that.
But because Yahawah had a bigger goal, the real goal, because he was the Son of God, he could have said, yeah, you're right, you know, I'm a Son of God, and he would have gave into the flesh.
Yeah, you get that. That's someone that's simple. So he could have did that and proved the point. Oh yeah, I'm that guy, but he didn't do that because he knew the course. He knew what he had to. He knew what kind of work he was doing, and he knew who he was working for. You know what I mean? And that's just pretty much the thing right there. Going up.
I've got everything here.
Okay.
This is Book of Simon. It's like.
Right, this is Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 24. No, 44, Salakia. For Yahawah testified in himself that a prophet hath no honor in his own country. So basically, you're not even supposed to be looking for honor, and you're not going to get it in your own country, innit? Because nobody's going to believe you. But if you're about this truth, it's not about puffing your chest up and trying to make yourself into some internet celebrity. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and that's this truth. Like I said, you got a lot of guys, man, that really wouldn't really shit in the world, and they want to use this kind of they want to use the truth to garner that. Yeah, they want to get famous and they want to do what they couldn't do. You know what I mean? And that's why they did. That's why they put that shit on the YouTube. The whole strip club thing, they put that up there.
Yeah.
Because they really just want attention.
Yeah.
You know what I find out, right? The more I'm in this truth, the more I start to realize, man, that a lot of these men are just like these women, man.
Yeah.
Like how the nigga woman is, she wants attention and she's going to do anything it takes. She knows she's going to get a reaction of the attention, right? You got Jays that are like that too. They just want attention, man. They want attention, and they may actually know what kind of backlash is going to be, but they just want that attention anyway.
You know what it's called, Elder?
Come.
It's called clout chasing.
Yeah, clout chasing, yeah.
You know? So they start beef with someone, or just do something just to get a reaction. You know, and really that's an insecurity. You know, vainglory is an insecurity, because when you go into that word vain, it means empty, shallow. So after this 15 minutes of fame, who are you really? That's what I keep on saying. When the cameras are off, who are you really? Because I can say this, even when the cameras ain't on, this is who I am.
That's it.
You know?
Yeah, man. And you know, that's all I gotta say. I'm gonna let this brother, you know, get it in, man.
Just a minute. Yes. Right on time. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 20. And 5. There is one that keepeth silence and is found wise, and another by much babbling become hateful.
Got the whole.
Oh, okay, come.
I'll read that again. This is the book of Sirach 20 and 5. There is one that keepeth silence and is found wise, and another by much babbling becometh hateful.
See, so sometimes silence makes you, inspires wisdom, man. You know, listening, and observation goes a long way, man. You know, because this, and as the elders, land back, the elders speaking about the whole Al-Azhar thing, it's like you can know the right place to be, but knowing how to do it correct is different, man. Like him knowing he's an Israelite and the Lord's returning, he knows the right place to be. That's why he's got his own setup going on. But doing it correctly is a whole different ball game, man. Like the I don't even want to call it a Passover, but the thing that they had, goes to show that they're not doing it correctly, man. Because what happened was, when you check it, he really came out from around the apostles, man. Like the apostles joke around and say he was like their long lost son. He was an apostle to God's long lost son type of thing. Like he came from Greatmillstone, man. But that's a lack of not listening, man.
And just to support you in what you're saying, because I actually know what camp he's actually from. SIMEON. He's from one of those. He's from, I believe I forgot the state, man.
I believe it is Bay Area.
Right, I think so.
San Francisco, one of them.
Yeah, so that's what camp he's from. You know that brother ISSACHAR, I think he's an ISSACHARite, but he looks like an Edomite basically. He used to be in his camp. You know what I mean? He was like the least in that camp, as I can remember.
Yeah.
So he